start streaming. I know, you just can't find good help these days.
You're the producer, sir.
Hey. Okay, now that I hit the correct button. There we are. Just gonna check the audio.
I hit the correct button.
Say something for me.
There we are.
Something for me.
Check the audio. I hit the correct button.
Say something for me.
There we are. Something for me.
Oh yeah, smart ass. All right, we are live. Welcome to Down the Middle. Back to our regularly scheduled time. We have sorted out our scheduling issues, as far as I know, and if we haven't, we'll let you know.
First things first. I know I got a promo and everything about this. But here we are, ladies and gentlemen, back to Down the Middle. And look who is still your all events welcome champion. And I told you, Jake Boger. What did I tell you?
I don't remember. I've slept since then.
I told you I'd beat you guys at Uno, and I did. But as everybody, as I said in the promo that I said on my YouTube channel, that we're having a straight edge beer pong tournament for the all events welcome title. What you think?
What were you saying something? I'm sorry, I got bored.
I was putting you over on
Oh,
this. That's what I said.
no, you weren't. No, you weren't. You were talking shit.
I said a straight edge beer pong tournament because
Yeah.
you're straight. Are you not?
Kind of, but yeah. But you don't drink either.
Who says I don't drink?
You did.
I never did say that.
Oh, you said. Maybe I
I do.
misunderstood.
I do drink,
Just
but
not with
I
beer pong.
will not drink alcohol in the fairness for you. I will be fair.
What do you mean fairness for me?
Yes.
More like fairness for you.
Why is that?
Because I'm not drinking, period.
Okay, but if you're ladies in your company, you got to drink whatever's in the cup.
Okay. I already offered to put milk in my cups.
Okay.
Which, for those of you that are confused, the human body can only tolerate, even if you can process lactose, the human body can only tolerate a certain amount of milk within an allotted time. I believe it's about a gallon per hour.
Okay. Are we here to talk statistics and semantics?
No, but you brought something. I brought something up, and I figured some people might not know. So
All right.
now they are less confused.
Well, like I said,
Okay, I'll bring it back to wrestling. It could have totally been a Stone Cold versus Kurt Angle kind of thing.
Hey! Don't do that.
And when I beat you, I can take the two milk bottles together and just bash them, and then I'll probably go throw up somewhere.
And then when I beat you, I'll take 2 beers and I'll bash right in front of your face.
Yeah. Damn, maybe we should do that, and then we can tie it into both podcasts.
Okay, I was kidding about that. That's all sticky and everything else. And I'm good.
You think I want to pour milk all over myself? But I would do it for the fans.
Well, we're trying to get up there more so I can chop you. Anyway.
Okay, that's a separate thing, but I'm glad you brought that up. We'll figure out some way to do that. Actually, maybe we should do it here.
But you said subscribers. That's what I was stating. But I mean, what are you saying? What are we thinking?
We gotta, maybe we can incentivize the fans to get a little bit more involved.
Okay.
Like if we get to a certain number of views or subscribers, that I'll take the chop live.
How many? 1 or 2?
What do you mean 1 or 2? Oh, chops. If I even subscribers, I'm like, damn, dude. Okay, well we can.
Well, I'm just gonna be fair. I'm just letting you know now, okay? Before you, just so you can think about your decision. I always do too.
Okay.
I do a straight one, like when people I wrestle, because a lot of them do wrestle with shirts on. I do straight with shirt down, and I pull the shirt over their face, and I do the big show chop.
Okay. I'm thinking because this channel's pretty close to 1,000 subscribers. I think we're only like 6 or 7 away, but that's
Oh, to
too easy.
1,000?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
So I'm thinking like that's too easy. Or you know what? You know what? Screw it. If we get to 1,000 subscribers, Ben can chop me.
Okay, but it's got to be a certain time period, right? Or just in general. Well, usually like other YouTubers and everything say, if I get a certain amount of subscribers by this date, then I can then do it, or it's null and void.
Okay,
Or-
fine. By the next podcast, that's 2 weeks.
Okay, I will
Surely.
make sure.
Surely we can get 6 or 7 subscribers in 2 weeks.
Okay, I
And
guarantee
you can't pay anyone to do it.
Who says I was going to pay anybody?
Oh, okay, yeah, that's true. You will ask, we'll be like, hey, can you all subscribe to this so I can chop this motherfucker? I'll tell you what else I'll do too. Not only will I do it live on YouTube, I'll throw it on TikTok too.
Okay.
He's like, I'm game. Let's get these subscribers. I'll take a chop.
You signed your own death warrants.
I'll take a chop for the fans.
Did you say 1 or 2?
I'll take 2.
Okay.
Because the first one's above the shirt, and then the second one you lift it up, right?
Yes.
I apologize in advance for what you all will have to see, but I will do it for the fans. But you know I've been chopped before.
No, I know. I did not know that.
Yes, I have.
By who?
I can't remember his name, but he was an indie wrestler. Me and my roommate at the time took chops from him. I forget his name. Big dude though, really big dude. Hurt like a son of a bitch.
Okay. I have a small hand. You see me in person.
Yeah.
I have a small hand, but my hands. But if for anybody who watches this and follows XCW, go to XCW Allegiance. Our not the last show that's up, but the show before that. Go to the main event, and you will see me chopping a guy named Jay Ellis twice. And by the time I hit that second chop, he fell to the ground.
Oh, I'm not going to say I'm not going to fall to the ground, because I totally fell to the ground when I got chopped. Not going to lie, went right to my knees.
Right.
I ain't that tough.
Okay. Well, just stay.
But I'll do it for the fans.
All right. Now, the issue at hand here.
What about your hand?
Not my hand. I said to the issue at hand here. You messaged me about.
Oh, right.
That's what I'm leading into.
Yeah, which is the theme of this week's episode, actually. So, I don't normally engage. I'm rarely on Facebook. Most of my social media is Instagram and now TikTok, which is a problem. But I don't get on Facebook that much. But I browse every once in a while, and I'm in an AEW fan group, and I just so happen to see this post. Which, let me say first of all,
you're welcome on the TikTok thing, by the way.
Did you have anything to do with it?
Well, I was sending you.
You were sending me TikTok. No, I've been being not badgered, but I've been told repeatedly that I need to be on TikTok. So I thought, hey, I've got 2 podcasts that I can pimp out on TikTok, and I finally downloaded it and I figured it out. And I will say this about TikTok: it's incredibly fucking stupid, but I get it.
I will say though, I think one of our clips is one of the most viewed on there, if I remember right.
I don't know which clip that was, but let me know. Let me know off air, because I'm not sure. But anyway, Yeah, TikTok is a tremendous waste of time, but a lot of people are on there. So
Right. So you said you're in an AEW group.
yeah, and for an AEW group, there's a lot of hate on AEW. Which I mean, you can criticize AEW all you want, but why are you in a fan group if all you want to do is shit on it? And that seems to be what like I'd say at least 70% of the posts are somebody just giving AEW shit, and it's like, okay, then why are you here? But I digress. So the post in question had a screenshot of The Miz and MJF, and I will read it, the caption. I'm not going to say who put it because that's just something shitty to do. But anyway, the caption is, who is better in relation to The Miz and MJF? Both have great mic skills, average wrestling ability, and similar gimmicks. And like I said, not only am I rarely on Facebook, but I almost never engage with a post because, well, you know how Facebook arguments go.
Yeah.
But I just felt compelled to say, average wrestling skills, average, really? And I actually got a lot of people agreeing with me. Nobody really shit on what I was saying, but my point was, I mean, for somebody to say with a straight face that these two guys who are both on national television, both started their wrestling careers on national television at relatively young ages to be where they are now. Now, the Miz's career took a little bit longer to, get steamrolling. But, I mean, they both started pretty young and were on TV pretty young.
Well, but the only thing that gave Miz the edge was, I think it was the Real World.
I don't think that gave him much of an edge in wrestling. In fact, I think that probably worked against him.
Well, no, well, I mean, it worked against him because people didn't like that.
Right.
But it was still the thing that helped him out, especially when he did Tough Enough.
True.
And everything, when him and Ryback, especially when they both did Tough Enough and everything, and Daniel Puder won. It's like everybody knows out of everybody who was in that Tough Enough, everybody knows the Miz should have won it. Yeah. Especially since him now. But still, I digress.
But my point being,
right.
And again, MJF, the Miz in particular, and as far as the wrestling skills, the average wrestling skills, it's like, for you to say that and actually believe it means you must not watch wrestling. Because, I mean, think about it. I mean, how long has the Miz been in WWE? It's going on 15 years, is it not? Not quite, but it's going. It's been over 2 years. Because he debuted on ECW in like 2006, 2007.
When?
Or was he there earlier than that?
No, hold on. When did Eddie died in 2005, right?
I think so. I think it was 2005.
Okay. Then 2004.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, he's going on. He's going on 20 years. He's close to 20 years.
No.
Yeah. Because in 2024.
Well, then, yeah, almost 20 years.
Yeah, he's going on 20 years. Like, not quite, but he's close to 20 years.
Right. Well, but crap. I don't have coronavirus. That's your guys' topic for your podcast. Anyways, I always say that because when Daniel Puder won it, he was in the Royal Rumble with Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, and Hardcore Holly, and they all chopped him at the beginning of the Royal Rumble. Okay, and I only remember that because of that situation, and that's why I was trying to think when was the year that because and all that. So that was 2004 when that happened.
Okay.
Like, yeah, 2004 is when they had the Tough Enough $1 million competition.
Right.
So Cuter went into the Royal Rumble in 2005, and not so long after that, he was released.
Right. My point. So the Miz has been in WWE as an active wrestler for almost 20 years.
Right.
How many times has he been injured?
Not that much, as far as I can remember.
I can't remember one. I'm not saying he never has, but I can't remember one. How many times has he injured somebody else?
Never.
You don't wrestle somewhere for 20 years with average wrestling ability, period, much less hardly ever getting hurt and never, to my knowledge, never injuring someone.
He is, he is one of the greatest WWE superstars that they have.
And I defy you to mention one person that he's worked, especially in the last 10 years. Give me one person he's worked with that hasn't looked better after working with him.
And I don't disagree with that.
Dude made Bad Bunny look good.
Right.
Okay? Case closed. And then you got MJF, who, speaking of MJF, did you catch? I'm sure you caught Blood and Guts.
I didn't see the whole match, but
It's so good.
I
know there are things that people are nitpicking about it, but overall, I think it was really, really good.
I saw the ending.
Okay, so yeah.
Okay. Here's my thing. Okay. The ending was weird to me. Okay. And the only reason why I say that is because I understood the reasoning why the ending. Sammy, says I surrender and everything. We surrender and all that, so Jericho doesn't die. Jericho doesn't die, and then he gets thrown off the cage anyways. And it's just the way he lands and all that. It's like, okay, but to me, it's like, and Jericho even said though, I think it was Jericho or somebody even said that their feud is going to last after this. Okay, between Pinnacle and Inner Circle, it's going to go farther after this. Okay, to me, how can you go any higher or farther than this match?
I can agree with that. I will say this though, if anybody can figure out how, I think it is AEW. I think they can figure out a way.
Because last time Jericho and MJF have fought in singles competition, who's went over?
MJF did he not?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
And now this just happened now again with Blood and Guts. So right there, that means the next time that they fight, especially MJF and Jericho has to win.
And he has to, well, he doesn't even have to win clean, but yes, he has to win to keep the feud going.
Well, no, right. Well, it will be clean, but even then, my point is though is I understand the reasoning they want to keep it going and all that because it's all the people in Inner Circle, all the people in Pinnacle, they can do so much with each other and everything. But I've got also an old school mentality and everything. This is what brings me back to liking WCW. Even though AEW is WCW 2.0, you could disagree with me on that one.
No, I totally agree with you.
Okay.
It is. It's WCW 2.0.
Especially back in the 80s, in the 90s, early 90s, for NWA WCW, when they had the biggest feuds going on, it ended in War Games.
Yeah.
And then from War Games on, started new feuds. So it ended out for the rest of the year for Starrcade, and then they started over again for the next year. That is the one problem that I'm having with this with AEW. Okay. It's like when, it's like with Japan. It's like with Japan. I'll use Japan as an example. Okay. I'm not trying to go off topic here. I'm not trying to pull you.
It's our
Kidding.
podcast. Who gives a shit?
I know, but I'm kidding. This, like, say you do the exploding death match. Okay.
You mean Kenny and Moxley?
Well, that type
Or
of match, but
a death match. Okay.
right. You start the dispute. Okay. FMW is known for doing those type of matches. Anyways, you start the dispute, build it up to this, and it's like, okay, we're gonna do this in a steel cage. Okay. Then that doesn't finish the feud. We'll do a last man standing or a night quit. Still doesn't finish the feud. Go to Hell in a Cell. Just saying in general. I'm not saying WWE, I'm just saying in general. Do this in general. Still doesn't finish the feud. So what do you do after this? Because they're supposed to live it. You do this type of match, okay, then feud's done.
The only thing I could think of is do another sort of Stadium Stampede style match, and the only reason I say that is because, like, it's gonna blow up so badly that even a cage won't hold it. You got to give them an arena to do it. Just a no holds barred. I think that kind of a feud has to blow up that way, like a no holds barred street fight with an arena size battle. But we all know it's gonna come down to Jericho and MJF. It's got to.
Right.
Otherwise, it's gonna be lame. Because like if it ends up with Hager MJF, it's gonna of course Hager's gonna kill him.
Well, right, but it won't though. Everybody knows
it'll come down to MJF and Jericho.
Right, just like who was it with Omega at the end? Was that one?
Oh, the Stadium Stampede.
Yeah.
I knew you were gonna ask me. Shit. I think it was Omega and Sammy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But I think it's just because Sammy was the only one who wanted to take that bump.
Well, who's the lightest one of the group?
That too, yeah. Friggin' Sammy, I knew he was going to be good. Don't get me wrong, but Sammy was really good in that match, especially at the beginning.
I did see the beginning part with him and Dax.
Yeah.
Is that okay, Dax?
Oh, so good. So good. That, and it kills me. How old is Sammy? He's like 23, 24?
I think
so.
He started wrestling young.
Yeah, I think he's 23. Like, holy shit.
Now, like, getting back to the topic. Huh?
That guy is, I mean, he's already great.
Yes. Now, getting back to the topic at hand, though, when people stating that Miz and MJF, sorry, have average wrestling skills? No. MJF, I will say the Miz is MJF, MJF is the Miz. I will say that yes, they are the two for each. They are the same in each company. Okay.
The Miz is as bad as he's allowed to be in WWE, but if they let him go further, he would.
And that's what, right. Now,
not taking anything away from the Miz, it's just he can't. And I understand he can't go as far as MJF does. Well, but if he could, I bet he would.
Well, I mean, right, but he has went farther than MJF. He's been WWE champion. MJF.
No, I meant in terms of heel behavior.
Oh well, no, right. Miz, that's why MJF would be perfect in the Attitude Era.
Yes.
Okay. Because of the whole cussing and everything else, he would be perfect for the Attitude Era and all that stuff. But if they're allowed cussing on WWE right now, Miz would be cussing.
Yeah. But I think MJF works so well in this era because most places can't do that. Arguably, AEW can't even do that. But I don't know how he makes it work. Is MJF has done some things where, for example, did you see where he shoved the dude in the crowd?
No, I did not.
They're coming to the blood and guts. They're coming to the cage, and he just shoves this dude in the audience. Now, normally I'd say, okay, that's a plant. But, there were fans in attendance.
Right.
And the reaction of the people around the person who got shoved, like, I'll put it to you this way. I bet it was a plant, but man, they made me believe it wasn't.
It
'Cause
looks so real.
What's that?
It looks so real.
Yeah, like it looked like he just randomly decided to shove this dude, and it wasn't soft. I mean, like he knocked him down.
See, and that's what I'm saying is he gets over way too good as a heel that you don't know if he's. See, they say live your gimmick as much as possible. Okay, which is I'll use the Undertaker.
Yeah.
That man lived his gimmick, bar none. He never did any signings or any of that type of stuff. And if you did get an autograph from back in the day, it's one of those.
You were at the right place at the right time.
Well, not really that because you didn't really catch Taker
Yeah.
in an area to where like you get a picture with him or whatnot. You like you said, like you gotta be very lucky. Now when he turned into American Badass and everything, then it was more lenient to do stuff like that. But even then, and nowadays, since he is retired and is done and everything, I got to meet Taker right before he retired from WWE. He did a convention up in Chicago, and just to meet that man and everything, shake his hand, get a picture with him, it was like, oh my god, like this is one of the greatest moments of my life.
He's pretty tall,
So,
isn't he?
huh?
He's pretty tall, isn't he?
I'm like, how are you?
Yeah, like
How's the weather up there? that type of thing. Um, who was I just comparing Taker with? I just lost it.
you're talking about MJF and living the gimmick.
Yeah. Living the gimmick. Because like there's a clip on online where a young kid goes and gets an autograph from MJF,
I know which one you're talking about. It's hilarious.
and he stands over right next to him at the podium, and hey, why can't I ever remember people's names? This is so bad on me. What's the bodyguard? Wardlow.
Wardlow, yeah.
Wardlow standing behind MJF, and then the whole time of the picture, he's just flipping him off.
He's just giving him the finger. I love that. There's you can Google that. You can find the picture. It's hilarious.
I'm like, there's living the gimmick, and there's living the gimmick.
Well, and then another part of that video, when he sits down at his booth, he's got a microphone, and he literally tells the crowd, he's like, "Listen, I am contractually obligated to be here. It would be awesome if none of you stood in line, to bother me." And he puts his feet up on the table, and he's just like, "I'm here for 2 hours because, AEW and TNT require me in my contract to be here. I hope none of you mouth breathers come up and bother me. I'm going to try to get some sleep." And he's like, "Wardlow, keep him away." This is freaking perfect.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, there they come, one at a time.
Well, I loved, and this is obviously back when they had crowds, but I always loved MJF would just try and he would succeed. He'd just do everything he could to get the entire building to just get pissed off at him.
We didn't have him that night, did we?
No, we did not. Not in October. He's talking about when we went to the AEW show, and I think Indianapolis. That was October. Yeah, it was in Indianapolis, but I think it was in October, wasn't it?
No.
Oh, no. It wasn't. I'm sorry.
No, it was November
because it was cold as hell.
Well, depending on it, when you live in Indiana, it's going to be cold as hell no matter what. Especially October, it's going to be colder.
Oh, it was late November because they had Christmas lights and shit up. I can't believe I forgot that. But anyway,
it was yeah, because I went to Dynamite, and then that Saturday, I went and met funny enough, I went and met the Undertaker in Chicago, and then that night I went to War Games.
In Chicago. Funny.
Right. But yeah, funny. I went to I went to see War Games at the Rosemont in Chicago. I was not to get off topic, but I'm going to say this right now. That building is small.
Which one, the Rosemont?
Yeah, the one that they had War Games in and Survivor Series in 2019.
Yeah.
When you go, if you ever find it and watch it. Okay, when you do watch it, you see it and everything. That building is small.
They always seem bigger on TV though.
Baker's Light Field House in downtown Indy.
Yeah.
Okay, that's bigger than that.
Really?
Yes.
Huh.
It just seems like it's so big because of how enclosed in it is with the wooden ceiling and everything.
Well, but I mean, they made Farmers look big on TV.
Well,
Farmers is the venue in Indy where Dynamite was. But I'll be honest, you know what's awesome about Farmers though is there's not a bad seat in that house.
no, there wasn't.
No, I mean you could have even been on the top row, and you still had a decent view.
Right.
So, another place like that is the Allstate Arena in Chicago, where All In was.
See, and I okay.
Not a bad, not really a bad seat in the house.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, we got off topic. But the point is, and then you got MJF's
no, it's fine.
Yeah, but then you got, I guess I might see how a casual fan might assume that MJF can't wrestle, but that's just because that's his character. Because you don't see him wrestle all that much.
Well, they don't book him to wrestle all that much either.
Exactly. But and then when he does wrestle, his character is, he's trying to do as little as possible. So yeah, it's like exactly. He's not going to be doing a lot of, unless he has to, the character has to. He's not going to be doing a bunch of chain wrestling or a bunch of wrestling maneuvers. He's going to be trying to get a quick win, getting in and out of the ring, being a heel.
Right.
And I think that just got not ruined, but I think people's expectations for heels changed because of WWE, not because of Stone Cold, but you had all these badass heels that weren't really heels.
Right.
And I'm sorry, but if you've got, I say it all the time, if you've got heels doing moonsaults and hurricane ranas and shooting star presses, they're not heels. Heels are not supposed to do cool shit.
Well,
that's like if and Randy Orton doesn't do those things, but that's like you can book Randy Orton to be a heel at this point in his career. He's still going to get cheered everywhere he goes. Now, early in his career, he was easy to hate, but he's just been around so long now, you almost can't book him as a heel.
And I don't disagree with that. I don't.
Well, it's kind of like trying to book Undertaker as a heel. Like, why? Undertaker is a little different, though, because Undertaker is more like a force of nature rather than a heel or a now he can be a babyface for sure, but...
Well, I mean, okay, of all the times he's wrestled, I'm not going to count WCW and all that stuff. I'm just counting straight WWE. The whole time he wrestled for WWE, the 3 times that he was, and I know it's bad to say, I know it's weird to say that, say this and hear this, but he's only been healed 3 times. That's it, right. 3 times.
Yeah.
When he first started, when they did the ministry, and when he was the American Badass, and he did as soon as the Alliance lost Team WWF Survivor Series, he turned heel. Taker immediately turned heel. It's like he was a face of the show for the longest time because of the whole losing the job thing. He knows he's got a secure job. Now he's going to turn heel, and he's not even heel that long.
Right. So speaking of, go finish your point, but I've got a theory for you. that I want
No,
your
I was
opinion on.
gonna say, like, he turned heel by doing what he did to JR in November or December, and he's back to being faced by around King of the Ring, Vengeance, because of that match he had with that ladder match he had with Jeff Hardy. That is what
Yeah.
signified him as being a babyface again.
Right. Yeah. So, but here's my theory. Speaking of face heel turns,
The Big Show?
no. Although there's no, I mean, talk about flip flopping. So knowing what AEW is doing now with the Elite, I might be giving them too much credit, but I honestly believe this is the case because anybody who says that AEW doesn't book long term is obviously not watching the show. Like, they have to make adjustments here and there, but for the most part, they book extremely long term. Do you notice shortly after, well, not shortly after, but within the first year, Cody was distanced from the rest of the Elite almost immediately. And then they slowly got Hangman Page away from the Bucks and Kenny. And at first, I couldn't for the life of me figure out what they were doing. I think I know now. I think they were building this Kenny heel turn for a very long time. And not only were they using Page to help do that, but they don't want Hangman to be a heel. So if they're going to turn the Elite heel, Hangman Page cannot be in the group. Because I can't see Hangman Page as much of a heel. Because even when he was in Bullet Club, he was a heel. But even then, it's like I was saying, this dude is.
He was more of a lackey when he was in Bullet Club.
Exactly, yeah. But my point is, like, he's too cool to be a legit heel because it's so hard not to like Hangman Page because of what he can do.
And they're wasting him away on his talent.
I don't know about that. I think because he's got the wrestling talent where he might have been lacking, and I don't know if he was actually lacking or not. Where he might have been lacking was part of. Well, no, I take that back. He wasn't lacking. Maybe he couldn't talk as well back then, but he was always funny because if you watch Being the Elite, he was always hysterical.
He Hangman Page can talk, he can wrestle, he can do everything. He should have been champion by now.
I disagree. And the only reason I say that is because he's still so young. And I agree with it. Hangman Page isn't even 30.
Okay. Darby Allin's young and he's TNT champion.
But he's not AEW champion. I thought you were talking about AEW champion.
Okay, even then.
No. What I'm getting at is that I wouldn't want Hangman Page to do everything he can do in AEW right out of the gate because then his character gets stale. And they went in a completely unexpected, like they were setting him up. You thought he was going to be AEW champion. He loses, and then he becomes a tag team champion. I didn't see that coming.
Oh.
And it was awesome. And then I didn't see the split up. Well, I saw the split up coming, but I didn't see him getting involved with the Dark Order. And yet, I like what I see.
And what's funny enough is I was talking to buddies of mine yesterday about that. I'm like, we're naming off people and everything. There's very little people part of a stable
that aren't part of a stable.
Like pretty much everywhere you look in AEW, there's a tag team / stable.
Yeah.
In AEW. And like a buddy of mine named off a couple of people. I'm like, okay, well, no, they're not part of a stable. Hell, Lance Archer's part of a stable. Sting's part of a stable. Darby Allin's part of a stable. So is Jake Roberts.
Wait, what?
Yeah. I mean, technically, they're technically together, but not together.
I don't know if I call that a stable, maybe a loose alliance, but
Well, okay, well, Lance Archer was supposed to be one of the biggest, baddest heels in AEW as a monster, and he gets in the face of Sting. Well, they're supposed to feud and fight and everything, and then next thing you know, Sting chewed him out. And now he's a babyface. Because
yeah, that's one thing I dislike because Lance Archer is an easy heel.
Right, and now, but he can't make the save on Sting and Darby Allin when they got beat up by Ethan Page and Scorpio.
Yeah. The only way they can make that work, and it doesn't make sense for Lance Archer, is that Lance wants Sting for himself. But again, that's not like Lance Archer in New Japan. Perfect. Just a monster heel who was there to just destroy shit. Did not care.
Right, but even when he was in Japan, he didn't win the big one.
Yeah. And I think honestly, I think the only reason he didn't win the big one is because it's problematic booking. That's the only problem. That's kind of like how Braun Strowman. Like I wouldn't put the belt on Braun Strowman for a while because once he's champion, who's gonna beat him? Who can beat him?
Well, Roman did.
Who can really beat him? It's unbelievable. Because I'm just throwing it out there. Like
nothing's believable in wrestling.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Rey Mysterio was the world heavyweight champion,
and he beat Kurt Angle and Randy Orton in a triple threat.
Yeah. Actually, that makes it a little bit more believable because theoretically, Randy Orton and Kurt Angle could have beaten each other up, and then he just went in. But that's not how it happened.
Right, but what I'm stating is you can't. That's why the way wrestling is now, especially with Jim Cornette. I will use him. Go ahead and do your little thing that you want to do with Jim Cornette because you're a big Jim Cornette mark.
Not really. I disagree with him a lot. In fact, I'll get into this in a minute, but I disagree. I heard him say something that was not only factually wrong, but I disagreed with it in principle. But anyway, you were making a point.
No, well, what I'm stating is he's still along the fact of back in the. To me, I think he's still in the fact of the 80s, where the heavyweights are the heavyweights, the tag teams are the tag teams, and the lower card guys are the lower card guys. And a lower card guy, like a cruiserweight, should not beat a heavyweight.
I agree with that to a point, but only to a point. Because again, I like the way New Japan does it. Like when they moved, when AJ left, they bumped Kenny up to heavyweight. Now, whether or not he actually weighed 205 pounds at that time, eventually he did, but they bumped him up to heavyweight so that he could compete in the IWGP heavyweight title picture. But he had to gain size in order to get up to that division. To that extent, I like it because, again, like you said, nothing's real in wrestling. So if you need a guy to weigh 205 pounds, just say he weighs 205 pounds. If it's reasonably believable.
Now, I will say this: the only person who actually did that for to actually make it look real and believable was Matt Hardy.
Yeah, but didn't he go down?
That's my point.
Yeah, but that was all just for shits and giggles.
Okay,
it was funny though.
Okay, but that's the thing is like they even stated that the cruiserweight title to go for you had to be 220 and under.
And he did the nonsense because it's 205 and under, but whatever.
Well, now it is.
I think even then it was.
No, it was 220.
Oh, was it really? No.
Yes, yeah. Like
well, as Jim Cornette would say, well, fuck, even the cruiserweights are getting smaller.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Matt Hardy was doing all this whatever and everything to lose weight, wearing the trash bag and all that stuff to lose weight and everything. And they even did the whole weigh-ins, and he finally weighed in and it was 220. And he won the cruiserweight title from guess who? One of the best cruiserweights of all time, Kidman. And that goes back to what you said earlier about people shouldn't do good stuff as a heel, like shooting Star Press. He was a heel and he did that.
But he's a cruiserweight.
Okay.
It is a little bit. Well, no, I take that back because a really good cruiserweight heel was Marty Scurll, who was probably the only cruiserweight in New Japan at the time, or I'm sorry, junior heavyweight in New Japan at the time that wasn't doing the high flying stuff, heel or not.
That's
Marty
like Dean
Scurll was doing chicken wings and old school mat wrestling.
Malenko.
Yeah, he was a heel, wasn't he? Or was he?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, he was against Jericho, who was also a heel. Figure it out.
No. Well, no. During that, he was a face.
Oh, during that feud, yeah.
Yeah. But when he was mainly like cruiserweight champion and everything else, he was mainly heel.
Yeah. You're the
But by the
WCW mark.
Huh?
You're the WCW mark. I don't know a lot of the early WCW.
Right. That's what. Right.
Well,
So-
you know what? There is an exception to my rule, though, and that was the original ECW.
That doesn't count.
I know, because it could be argued everybody was a heel in ECW.
Well, no. I mean, like, no, because there was actually faces and heels in ECW.
Yeah, but the rules were different.
What rules?
Well, I mean, for what constitutes a heel and a baby face, it was different in ECW.
Well, right. But what I was stating, like, every match was anything goes and all that yada yada stuff. But when it wasn't even that, it's like, okay, when they finally got to TNN, then they finally said, okay, now rope breaks mean something, and if you do stuff with a weapon or whatnot, that is disqualifications. It's like, okay, they're trying to make themselves out to be a legit wrestling company by the time they get to TNN, and then they got kicked off because of Monday Night Raw.
Which, you know, one thing that probably the one thing that the WWE ECW did that I actually liked was how they did the Extreme Rules matches. Because it made it, what it did was, I know it's ECW, but what it did was it made it special.
Vince ruined ECW when they brought it back.
He did. I'm saying that was like probably the one thing that I liked. Only one. And putting both belts on RVD, I like that too. But other than that, it was the shits.
Well, see, okay, well, see, and I've argued with people about this and everything, especially when they brought ECW back and everything, especially with the ECW title. Oh, they said that's not a true world title. That's not a true world title. Bull crap, it's not. That was a true world title.
It should have been.
Huh?
It should have been, but they didn't treat it like one.
Well, but it was a world title.
Yes, it was.
Because Raw had the WWE title, SmackDown had the World Heavyweight title, ECW had the ECW title. You know, at the beginning they called it the ECW World title.
Yeah.
And then they changed it to just ECW title. But still, it was the World ECW World title. So that means that some people were world champions way before they actually won the big one.
Trivia question: who was the last ECW World Heavyweight Champion?
If we're going old
No,
era,
I'm talking the total lineage of the belt.
oh, that's Eagle Jackson.
Now, who was the last ECW champion before WWE took it over?
Right.
By the way, any of you asking the podcast, if you want to try to stump the old ref here, feel free to throw that in the super chat.
Oh, how many people's watching?
Well, right now, not very many, but or if you're watching the replay, leave a comment. I will make sure to ask Ben your question on the next episode.
See, we're talking about belts and everything. It's like, oh boy, don't. I don't know about a lot about belts. I don't. So, I mean, I know enough of everything, but Well, like a
when
buddy.
when we want to talk about belts, we'll have your we'll have your buddy on.
Well, I was going to actually say that. It's like there's a buddy of mine who, yes, there's a buddy of mine out there who I would say has agreed to be on our podcast. He will be on there on our show soon, probably next month or two. We'll just figure out the exact time we can do this. He's way more knowledgeable about belts than I am. He finds pictures of belts that's like of stuff that WWE were going to use, and then they were like, "Yeah, we're not going to use them just because of the way they looked."
But you got to wonder how ugly those belts were because of what they weighed.
Which ones?
I don't know, just any of the ones that they decided not to use.
Well, like I've seen pictures of you remember the penny belts, the penny tag titles?
Which I didn't. I liked those.
Well, what's funny is they actually made a couple, but on the main plate though, they're going to have nameplates on them, like for both wrestlers.
Like
I think
each belt was going to have 2 nameplates.
Yes, but they decided against it. Like, yeah, and I'm not going to disagree. I'm not going to agree that even though you like the belts, I wasn't profound of them because, like I said, they're the penny belts, and the belts they got now on TV are the nickel belts. So, but that's just my opinion. And I like I said, I'm an old school guy. I'm a WCW mark, especially when it comes to the WCW title with the nameplate. I like that over what they got now with the side plates.
Yeah, I'm a nameplate. I like nameplates. I think like I get what they're trying to do, but just do a nameplate.
Now my buddy, when he watches this and he does come on here, I got a feeling he's gonna disagree with me and say that he likes side plates better because I'll call him out on it because I don't have to because he knows it. He's an AJ Styles mark. Because he's got the WWE title with AJ Styles side plates on, and he even paid the red swoosh blue.
Well, I mean, who's not an AJ Styles mark?
I mean, I've seen the guy live in person for TNA, so. But
wow, we got off topic of the main point. But basically,
no, we pretty much stated what that they're both great wrestlers, and people just need to grow up and ignore the obvious that they are at the top of their game and nobody can touch them.
Correct. But I guess my main point is I said on a couple podcasts ago that like I try not to criticize the in-ring work because I'm not a wrestler. But it amazes me. It absolutely amazes me how many people shit on wrestlers' in-ring work when they don't understand what's going on. And it's like, I've not been trained, but I understand that the Miz as a heel wrestles a certain style for a reason. It's not that he can't wrestle.
Right. And I understand that. And I've had this conversation with a cousin of mine who's an actual wrestler, just like I am. He's wrestled on the indies, unlike me, who's wrestled backyard. And he's heard this from other wrestlers and whatnot.
There's something wrong with your mic.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I mean we could hear you, but it sounded weird.
Oh, sorry, I was trying to. Well, what I was trying to say is like we can. I'll give you this theory, okay? We can hate on a product as much as we want, okay? But we can't hate on a on a wrestler or a football player or any of that. And the reason being is because, well, if they suck so bad, then why are they making all that money?
Well, and I will admit, I fell into this one time, and I actually I felt really bad about it actually. But you remember when Andrade Cien Almas first came to NXT? Well, not first came, but he'd been there for a little while. But he was wrestling matches, and to me, it seemed like it just wasn't very good. But then I remember he was wrestling Aleister Black at a takeover for the NXT title. And I remember during the match, I clicked. I was like, oh, this dude is actually really good. But what it is the style he's wrestling. Because again, and he got it. I mean, it was probably because I knew he was a luchador from Mexico. And I'm like, this dude's a luchador? Like, he's not doing any. And I'm like, oh, he's a heel. And this dude gets it. He's wrestling that style to make his babyface opponents look that much better. Because if he's doing a bunch of cool flips and jumps, which he can do, like if you go back and watch him as La Sombra, I mean, but even he was even kind of a heel by lucha standards. Original founder of Los Ingobernables, by the way. But anyway, my point was, it's like during that match, I clicked and I was like, oh, not only was I wrong, but this dude is phenomenal. Because Aleister looked so damn good in that match.
Every heel goes back to two people of how every heel in wrestling, or not say every heel in wrestling, well, I mean, like, if to get over as a heel, I've studied one person, well, two people, mainly one who studied another wrestler. To get over, I've studied Ric Flair, okay, who is by far, bar none, the best heel of all time. There's no better heel in wrestling than him.
Not even the Hot Rod?
Huh?
Not even the Hot Rod?
No.
You're right.
Because Ric Flair got his from Gorgeous George. Okay? And like people like Mike, and they've even said people like Mike Tyson and everybody else tried to personify after him because he is the greatest heel of all time. Gorgeous George is. But for today's era, when people watch wrestling from the 80s and all that, it's Ric Flair.
Yeah.
And if you want to get over as a great heel, you've got to study like Ric Flair to do what you can to get over and to do as little as possible to be good. And that's what Ric Flair can do. That's why matches go 30, 40, 60 minutes long with him. Because he can go a 60-minute draw and you not even touch him. And the fans will hate you.
And it's funny, I catch myself every time, and this goes to show you how the wrestling business changed. It's like, I caught myself, I was getting really, not pissed off, but I was getting like I was eye-rolling when, I think it was MJF, it was some heel wrestler, and he kept rolling out of the ring. And I was just getting so, I'm like, God, just quit. And then I realized it was like, oh, okay, I'm getting worked, as they would say. Because that's the point. If I'm watching this live, I'm supposed to be getting pissed off. And
Right.
Because then when the babyface gets a hold of him, it's that much better.
Right.
But you just don't see that. It's coming back to a point. But, I mean, shit, when I first started watching wrestling back in 06, when I started hardcore watching wrestling back in 06, you didn't see that. That was very rare.
Because Vince doesn't like that stuff.
Yeah, and it shows. And that's one of the many reasons why in WWE it's really hard to tell the difference between baby faces and heels.
Right.
Which is hilarious coming from a guy who said, well, you can't have a babyface versus a babyface. It's like, yeah, you can. Japan does it all the time.
He barely did it. He got away with it at WrestleMania 6.
Yeah, but you notice he did it all the time.
Well, what's funny is I say WrestleMania 6 with Hogan the Warrior. I actually seen something on Instagram a little bit ago. I sent it to my belt buddy, and I'll even tell you about it right now. You remember how the Intercontinental Champion, he was the heavyweight champion, right? Okay. Well, usually on the belt, there's five plates on the belt, the main plate and 2 side plates. Well, usually on the end, like in between the buckle part and the last plate on the one side, it'll usually say WWF on it. Okay. Well, I didn't realize this, that on the Warriors belt, it says WWF Ultimate Warrior on it. And on Hogan's belt, it says WWF Hulk Hogan. So it's like, okay, so that was like a little personalization of, it was their belt.
Yeah.
Even though Hogan had like 1,000 belts before the Wayne Dingle title, which I know my friend is, if everybody's wondering, his name is Hazard F5. You can find him on YouTube. Hazard F5. He's the belt mark of all belt marks. So
He's going to be on our show. He's already agreed. We just have to figure out the schedule.
Mr. Englishman, he will be on the show.
Oh, I forgot he was from the UK. I was just trying to sound fancy.
Yes, he is from England.
He's from across the pond, yeah.
He's from England, but he's just like you and I. But like I say, there's a 5-hour time difference between us and him. So, which right now it's like what? Right now, what time is it right now? Almost 10.
Yep.
So yeah, 10 right now. So that'd be what? It's 3 o'clock in the morning for him. Yep. Yeah. The man does work. I know the man does work, so I can't really do that to him.
Yeah, we'll figure out probably, I would imagine, a Saturday night.
Saturday night. I know we would have to do it like a Sunday morning.
Oh, okay, that'll work. Because we usually do Sundays anyhow, so we'll have to pick a day where you don't have a show.
Right.
That's all we got to do. Well, and speaking of which, that's about time. We try to keep these around an hour. So I'd say that's a wrap up, unless you got something else to add. No, I do. We haven't even talked about it. I'll try to be quick. So the Jim Cornette thing ties into Brian Danielson's a free agent.
Yes.
Officially. What do you think is going to happen?
He will go to AEW.
I think he's going to hang low for a while.
You think he'll hang low?
For a little while. I don't think you'll see him pop up anywhere immediately, but I don't think it's going to be like a year or anything.
No. Because he wants to get out there, and he wants the Jon Moxley deal.
And that's why I suspect he'll go to AEW, because when you go to AEW, that means you can also go to AAA. That means you can also go to New Japan. That means you can also go to Impact.
You're right. But
I'm pretty sure they'll allow him to do indies if he wanted to. And plus, I mean, it's Bryan Danielson. You can do whatever.
Well, here's my thing. I think before he even goes to AEW, if he is the Bryan Danielson that we all know, he will go to Ring of Honor first.
I think so. But it'll be spot appearance. Like, he's not going to sign a contract with them.
No.
I would not be surprised if he shows up in PWG either.
I think that's too low for him.
It's Bryan Danielson, though.
I know.
I don't think he cares.
No, I'm not disagreeing with that, but I think PWG is so far low on the radar now that
Maybe, yeah, because they kind of lost a little bit of their prestige. Here's what I don't understand about PWG. Like, I get that back in the day they only did the DVDs and it worked for them, but why do they not have a streaming show?
That I don't know, but
I don't get that. I get wanting to keep it low and local, but I mean, put that shit on the internet. People will pay.
and I understand that, but half the people that work for PWG now work in AEW.
That's true. That's true. They do. Except Joey Ryan, who's not working anywhere.
Yeah, well, that was his fault.
Yes, that was his fault. But that leads into the Jim Cornette thing I was talking about. He and Hawaiian Brian were talking about, where they thought Bryan Danielson was going to end up. And Jim Cornette said something, and I'm trying to remember now because I'm drawing a blank. He said something that was just factually untrue, which was weird because Jim's usually like really up on that. Now I can't remember for the life of me what he said. But I just remember thinking, I was like, that's not true. I cannot remember for the life of me.
Well, if you do remember, write it down and then we'll talk about it in the next podcast.
Yeah, because I'll remember right after we get off the air. But
you will.
Yeah, but I'm with you. I think we're gonna see Bryan Danielson in AEW. I don't know that it'll be immediately though. Although I wish it would be immediately, just for the surprise factor of it all.
Right, but also, I actually understand with you though the whole keeping on low profile for a bit. AEW's got a lot of people as it is.
Well, and that brings me to my next point, where I really wish he would end up and be his own promotion. Now, I understand he probably won't do this for obvious reasons because he has his family and everything, and I get he'd want to spend time with them. No confusion there. But I think it would be really interesting if Bryan Danielson showed up in New Japan.
I mean, I don't disagree with that, but
I don't think it's going to happen for the record.
No.
I think he's going to stay in the U.S.
I think he would only go to Japan if they let him wrestle Ospreay.
Oh, I mean, because I'll put it this way. He's talking to New Japan, I'm sure. And I'm pretty sure New Japan's not dumb anymore. They made some boneheaded decisions. Well, actually, that's not true. They continue to make a couple of boneheaded decisions, i.e. everyone's contracts expiring at the same time. But,
right?
I mean, they're not that dumb. If you have Bryan Danielson, it's like, oh, yeah, you can wrestle whoever the hell you want to wrestle. Like, you want to wrestle Will Ospreay? I doubt Will's going to say no. Like, Will's going to be like, yeah.
Right.
Bring it on. But then here's another interesting thing. You got Samoa Joe, who is not under contract. You've got Bryan Danielson that is not under contract. You've got CM Punk, who isn't wrestling for anyone. If there was another billionaire out there who wanted to start a wrestling promotion, I mean, I'm just saying, there's people out there.
I know we've got our fair share of indie promotions out there, and even wrestling promotions out there, where you can see.
I will say, if another promotion similar to AEW sprung up, I think WWE would be in trouble, legitimately.
Well, right now, when they're talking about doing a full capacity of fans at Double or Nothing, then I think WWE's screwed.
I don't know about screwed, but I mean, WWE's not helping themselves. That's for damn sure.
Well, Vince is everybody knows Vince is a germaphobe. So.
That's hilarious. Although that makes sense why WWE doesn't like blood anymore. And meanwhile, AEW has a special episode named Blood and Guts.
Well, it's not really the blood thing. It's more the fact of, in general, like.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though, and I think this is a problem with Vince, is he projects onto things that he doesn't have to directly be involved in. And what I mean by that is, like, yeah, he's a germaphobe. Okay, great. You don't have to be at the arena.
But he's going to be at the arena. He has to be.
But here's the problem. I understand that, but here's the problem. He doesn't have to be. But
No,
because, okay, here's the simple solution. The simple solution is if you're a germaphobe, but you want to have crowds in a pandemic, and it's that big of a deal to you, then don't be there. But have the show and let people that want to be there be there.
and I don't disagree with that, but as long as he's alive,
He will be
It's
in
just-
control, yep.
yep.
And that is one of the many problems they have.
So,
Well,
but on that note,
yeah, I think we'll wrap it up there. Don't want to keep it going too long. I will write that down when I remember what he said, because I remember thinking like, oh, Jim, you're usually on it. But that's just like blatantly not true. Like I know that for a fact.
right.
Alrighty. Well, until next time, fans. And one of us will give an update on when we're gonna have the belt mark on.
Yes, we will. We will talk about that, and then I will talk to him and go from there.
And then speaking of special episodes, I've got to check with Eric, but I believe this Wednesday, if you're free, we're going to do that Mortal Kombat review on the Average Intelligence podcast.
Oh, all three of us?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, because I told Eric for sure. Like we were always going to do the Mortal Kombat review, but I told him for sure after our lost episode of when
Yes.
we were just after the lost episode, I was like, oh man, we should have Ben on when we do that. And he's like, yes, absolutely.
Because I saw before you guys.
Oh man, oh, I'm still so pissed off we didn't push record.
It'll be
That
okay.
was gold. That was gold.
It'll be okay.
Well, I think what we'll have to do is just recreate it one of these days.
Oh, I know, but
I'm sure we can. But it was just great because we were all making so many good points.
well, I mean, you guys were more when you start talking political, and then I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna shut up.
Okay. Well, we won't keep the viewers any longer unless you want it. If you want more, just subscribe, like, share, and tell us so. And we'll
Yes.
keep talking. But we will see you all on the next one.